Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
For him or for me? Yeah.
It's working, right?
Just the one? Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the organizer for inviting me to this symposium, my first time in a World Urban Symposium, and it's quite exciting. My name is Pedro FERNANDEZ, and I come from MedCities. My background is on environmental science, and I work as project officer in the organization. And I will share the presentation with Gabino CARBALLO from Natural Based Solutions. He's acting as he's a landscape architect, and he's acting as a service provider for MedCities. So he will explain part of the project. We are going to present the Urban Project. It's an Interreg MED European project on urban regenerative water avant-garde. So, okay, is it better this way? Yeah? Okay, so the urban project, it relates to the urban regeneration and resource efficiency, particularly water, and it addresses one of the main challenges we have in the Southern Europe, which is the adaptation to climate change due to the drought and also the increasing temperatures. So it's a way of regenerating the urban landscape, taking into consideration the integrated water management. So, as I mentioned, this is a collaborative project between cities in the southern Europe, and it's funded by the Interreg Euro-MED Project. This is the European Union cohesion policy. So it's about promoting the collaboration across different countries and sharing experiences. The partnership is led by ANCI Lazio. It's an association of municipalities in Lazio, in Italy. And there is a diversity of partners, including public authorities, which in the end, they are responsible for many of the interventions that we are piloting in the project. But also there are research institutions and associations in different topics like designing and implementing co-design processes for urban regeneration. I will introduce a bit my organization and why we are in this project. So MedCities is an association and a network of Mediterranean cities. And particularly, there are many cities in the southern Mediterranean that they are part of this association because what the main objective is to promote the cooperation among the different Mediterranean cities. We are located in Barcelona and hosted by the metropolitan area of Barcelona. And we have many different projects related to urban environment and also strategic planning at the local level. Here in Turkey, there are several members, important cities like Antalya, Izmir, Bodrum, Mersin, so it's quite active also in the country. So there are 81 members in most of the European countries. And the way we work, there are like these 4 lines of work, the main ones. First one is on mobility. Coastal cities, this is about the interaction between the sea and the land, including port activities and so on, very important in the Mediterranean. Integrated waste management, which is a challenge, particularly in North Africa and Middle East. And the 4th one is on greener and climate resilient cities. And this is where Urban Project falls, because here we are working about the regeneration of urban environments and at the same time adapting to climate change. And here, there is a project as such, but as an organization, we are going to have several activities, so the project is not going to end here, but the idea is to share the experience also with the Southern Mediterranean. So now we are working among European partners, but we are going to transfer the results to the southern municipalities. So going back to the project, some formal information about the budget is 2.8 million euro, and the contribution from the European Commission is 2.2 million. and it has a duration of 33 months. We are finishing mid next year, so we are at the final run of the project, and we are coming to the final products and the implementation of the pilots that Gabino will explain in a minute. So, typically, as a European project with different work packages, just to give you an overview, the first one is about generating knowledge, harmonizing knowledge, and the main product is the catalog that I'm going to introduce. The second one is on the pilot actions that Gabino will talk to you about in Rome and in Cuba, in Portugal. The third one is about co-design processes that we have been testing in these 2 cities, but in 4 more cities. So they are co-designing this urban regeneration with the local communities. And the fourth one is about the transferring and the mainstreaming of what we are doing in the project. And here, MedCities as a network has a very strong say and a responsibility. So within the project, we are using a methodology. We call it the Living Labs. Not only us, but many projects, they are working in this way. So a living lab is when we gather in a particular location all the project partners, but also associate partners, potential beneficiaries of the project, and there is the discussion on the way forward. So the things, they are not set on stone, but we are adapting by knowing what is happening on the ground. So we already had 2 living labs, and then the activities, they were fine-tuned according to this discussion with the partner, with external stakeholders, let's say. And this has been an evolving way to adapt the project to the needs that we could see from the local authorities or local communities. And we will have the 3rd living lab February next year, so this is going to focus on the stewardship. So we have been working on pilot projects, developing products, so now it's how to put that forward, how to make it sustainable in the future. So a little bit more of concrete things that we have been doing in the project. One of the main products is the Urban Nature-Based Solution Catalog. So as I mentioned, it's about urban regeneration and water integrated management. And here we describe different solutions for urban regeneration in relation to water. And there is a very clear distinction between these 2 solutions. The first one, it's called a water snob. And these kind of solutions, they depend on irrigation. The second one, the smart NBS, they are, let's say, self-sufficient because they are able to recycle, to reuse water, and in a way, they are much more adapted to the climate conditions in the Mediterranean. So here, just some snapshots of the publication. At the beginning, you can see the different solutions in this scheme. So you have, for example, the green facade, the green roof, etc., and they depend on irrigation. And the smart NBS, they are reusing the water. So, for example, in the case of the green facade, in that case, is a water recycling green facade. So, making use of the water that is collected, the rainwater. The publication, and I think this is important because they are considered to be nature-based solutions, they provide also co-benefits. And there is something very important for cities. So it's not just about water and urban regeneration, but it's also about providing a space for recreation, cooling down the cities, and so on. Things that you probably know very well. So I will not insist. And then for each of the solutions, there is some information that can be practical at first glance, which is the social acceptability, the investment cost, or the operation and maintenance cost. So here, one example for the green roof. There is the scheme of how it works, the different co-benefits of this solution, and then you can see with the icons the social acceptability, the cost, and so on, and picture of real cases. Okay, so I will stop here and I will give the floor to Gabino.
Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you for inviting me again back in the fair and the WUP Symposium. Okay, as Pedro explained, we're trying to create this situation where something that is relatively simple to understand, which is we need to recycle water, we need to reuse, we need to be smart about water, and also we need to start implementing resilient measures related to nature-based solutions. And everything is very simple in principle, but in practice, we're up against a lot of inertia. So we have a lot of, let's say, great engineering that's been doing for many years the same thing. It's very effective, works well, and why should we change it? And even if you want to change it, there are lots of regulations and lots of situations where particularly local authorities, local governments, local practitioners will not change their ways because they're not sure about it, even though what we're proposing is probably more reasonable and even simpler than what we were doing before. So part of the urban project is not just people gathering and talking about things, it's also doing. So 2 of the partners are developing these pilot projects. And these pilot projects are supposed to enlighten, show, demonstrate, and also offer some information about what works well and what doesn't work so well. So one of them is being done in Rome, and it's all about water capture. Right? And basically it's trying to transform the well-known tarmac surface, impermeable surface, into something more permeable, something that breathes, something that collects water, and that water can be either returned to the environment or recycled somehow. And this will be the diagram that we are using in the MBS catalog to show how we're doing it. And the idea is to have a hands-on experience that we then can transmit to other local governments across the Mediterranean and speak from actual practice and experience. And that will be the end result when we are finished. The second one is in Cuba, not in the Caribbean, but a small town in the south of Portugal, Alentejo. And they also have serious water management issues. Obviously, like all the Mediterranean area is under stress, and they're trying to design buildings that do not consume water, but actually produce water. And this test pilot will be run here in this condition, in this context. It's fairly dry. And the end result obviously relies on the usage of various materials, soils, aggregates, infiltration, vegetation, and any structures that support this effort. So there is a methodology that we've developed for this project that is about co-design. We feel that it's not enough just to tell people how to do things. I think that nature-based solutions need to be shared with the
Attraverso
public, need to be
Urwan
shared
stiamo
with the local
sperimentando
communities.
una
They need to be
modalità nuova
not just
di
engineers, landscape
coprogettare
architects
attraverso una
designing,
partecipazione
but we have
che
to
è un
co-create
termine
solutions
molto
with the
abusato,
public.
che questa volta
But
diventa
co-creation is
invece
difficult.
qualcosa di altro,
You need a method.
attraverso
You can't just say,
professionisti
oh,
che lo
what do you
fanno in
think?
maniera
Oh, what do you want to do?
originale, creativa,
They are not
col
professionals
gioco,
in general. They may
partendo
be
dalle nuove generazioni e coinvolgendo
vocal.
poi
They may have
cittadini.
opinions. They may even have very good ideas. But how you bring all that together in a design process is not easy. So part of the urban project is about creating methodologies. In this case, the STAR pack. That allows us to work in a systematic manner with local authorities, local communities across all Mediterranean countries. So it can be adapted to the context. So as we have the train-the-trainer sessions, then they'll have to adapt not only the contents, but also the methodology to the local conditions. And you can find more information, of course, in videos and so on. And once we pass this sort of series of stages using the living labs as the way to collect and gather ideas and decide how to move forward, once we move into the pilot project territory, once we have the MBS catalog that tell us what we should be doing, the next thing is to create capacity. And for that, we are creating an enabler pack. And the enabler pack has several elements, including a checklist, a set of recommendations, a number of documents that can be used to change not only policy, but also governance and even methodologies. And part of that package and part of that effort is the creation of training kits. And this is where I was brought in by MedCities to assist in the generation of a training pack for any kind of professional working in local authorities. It's just not just for engineers, not just for architects, it's for everybody. People working, I don't know, in the economic side of it, administrative side of it. The idea is to create a cross-sectional knowledge that enables everybody to work towards the same goal from very different backgrounds, which is the real difficulty, getting everybody in a local government to speak the same language and to share the same common vision. So the purpose and objectives, they're here, they're quite clear. We want to strengthen knowledge and practical skills, and we want to mainstream natural-based solutions. And it sounds simple, but it's not. The whole idea is to start a series of training sessions, and we try to address every single aspect of natural-based solutions: design, installation, maintenance, but also we're looking at governance. We're looking at how local authorities work internally and what they need to change, which they're going to decide, to actually be effective in the implementation of these measures. And they need to believe in nature-based solutions, they need to believe in water management, and it needs to be part of their core activities. It cannot be a fringe thing. Saving water cannot be a fringe activity that Landscape Architect Paul will do. It's not something that practitioners here we're going to come and do a nice project. The local government has to believe that is their main mission is to implement these kind of measures and actively manage stormwater. So we're trying to increase knowledge. We're not trying to tell anybody what to do, increase knowledge. And we very much believe that we need to work on greening surfaces and making them permeable. And I think that this diagram shows in a way what we're trying to do, which is to bring together all the different departments in the local authority and to work towards a common goal using MBS application. Is a way to create green infrastructure, biodiversity, and adaptive management, because we're going to get enhanced resilience and co-benefits. So exactly as Pavel was saying, you know, we need to do the new thing, which is a good thing, and as other speakers here have mentioned, we need to start making cities genuine, and I think this is the way. So once we get this mesh of professional practices, beliefs, knowledge, regulations aligned with this, we create a knowledge mesh that then operates independently and adapted to the local conditions. And the kit structure is fairly simple. Basically, it's modular PowerPoints with some training sessions. We have a number of key features that are very important to us. And there is an implementation process in which we're going to train the trainers that then will disseminate the information locally. So all the information is being produced in English, needs to be translated locally, and then adapted also locally to the conditions. And we give some ideas how to do it. This is a methodology developed internally, following various practices and experiences. Then this can be, then again, adapted by every one of the practitioners. And parks obviously play an important role in all this. I think that parks act as a multifunctional green infrastructure. They have a lot to do with resilience in cities. Green spaces have a lot to do with the way cities are going to be enabled to change in the future, to climate change and water management. So there needs to be a general change in how we design them, how we approach the implementation, and how we maintain them. How we maintain green is maintaining water, basically. And also this graphic is actually a step-by-step approach. It's several slides of this recurring image in different episodes, but what it tells us a story of how you have to bring different policies. It's really difficult. You have to bring European, national, regional, local, and you have to bring urban planning, water management, green infrastructure, mobility, public works, all together. We are all in it. And then you have all these technical vectors, knowledge vectors, that are transdisciplinary, and we have to start thinking, all of us, about air, soil, water, energy, and biodiversity. We can't just think, oh, I'm looking after the plants, or I'm looking after the green infrastructure. That's not going to work. And then we have to check the output. We have to have a common methodology for benefits, and we have to start working towards common regulations and actions, and have serious monitoring, which is one thing we often forget. How do things work? How do they feed back into the system so we learn from it? And of course, you know, stakeholders and all the people involved, which is not just us, it's just not the people interested, not the converted, it's everybody involved, all the neighbors. We need to work and tailor messages. We need to communicate. Communication is an essential part of this training kit. In fact, I will say it's almost a third of the training kit is communicating. And participation is a massive part of this training kit. We really have to get down on working with people, getting used to being criticized, getting used to finding people objecting to our ideas, even political objections, local objections, professional objections. We have, unfortunately, but luckily we have to work with that. And that's going to be our main front, getting people to really collaborate with us on something that maybe they don't believe so much, but it's absolutely essential they do. And we have case studies. In this case, we follow the example of Barcelona city, using data-driven diagnosis, scenario modeling, and so on. Sounds all very impressive and complicated. The truth is that it's not. It's more a matter of political will and putting some means towards it. And it's been done for over 20 years, so more or less it's been tested. We have other simpler case studies from cities like Alicante in the south of Spain that have done great strides in water management, not only having floodable parks and draining systems, but also creating what they call a sandbox guide applied to the water cycle. So what they're doing is playing with actual projects to change and modify laws and regulations. So instead of waiting for regulations to change, you change practice and you use the sandbox to change the laws. So that's quite interesting exercise that's been promoted by the European Union. And we also have exercises. So it's not just about like you today after lunch having to listen to Pedro and me, you know, we're all tired. They're going to have to do some exercises and they're going to have to put their brains to work. And with a bit of luck, after a couple of very long sessions, they'll know something more than they do now and they'll be convinced that they need to move forward. And that's all. Thank you for your kind attention.